morning, folks. Welcome to the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. Cassandra Terry, the mindset coach and founder of Manifesting Miracle Makers, rounded up her LinkedIn family once again. First, we've got Brian Smart, Mr. Content and Dadpreneur. He's striking the perfect balance between raising his youngest daughter and creating masterful content. Next, meet Denise Annalise Spiller, the gig expert and relentless traveler and writer. She turns every gig into an adventure. Then there's Jay Pasquale, the storytelling strategist, a poet and voiceover artist. He's weaving tales that'll make you think, laugh, and maybe even change your perspective. Get ready for a show filled with wisdom, inspiration, and the magic of family. Let's welcome Cassandra Terry and the rest of the fam.
Hello. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. It is Thankful Thursday. It is my favorite day of the week because by the time we get to Thursday, a little tired. The week's been going on for a while. You're starting to hope and wish for the weekend. And sometimes in all of that, we get a little frustrated, a little run down. But all we have to do is just take a moment and remember at least one thing in that moment that we're grateful for. And immediately you start to feel better. Immediately your attitude adjusts. You cannot be two things at once, right? I'm not going to be angry and grateful at the same time. That gratefulness starts to neutralize those other emotions and gets me into a better headspace, gives me better focus so that I begin to put my energy, my focus, my attention into abundance instead of into lack, into the things that I have instead of the things that I don't. And being focused on that can't help but to lift your spirits, can't help but to get you in the right mind space. Today, our room, Thankful Thursday, is to train your gratitude muscle. So consider yourself in the gym today, right? In the gym, how many reps are you willing to do? How many reps do you usually do? Can you get there and do at least one more? Can you think of one more thing that you're grateful for? Can you do one more good deed? Can you reach out to someone who's been impactful in your life and say so, right? Gratitude is a gift. If you don't give it, it could just be wasted. And you give it in multiple ways. You give it first by internally thinking about the things that you're grateful for, but you also give it externally by sharing with those that have impacted you in some sort of a way. It may be the person that holds the elevator door. That happened to me yesterday. And I was quite a ways behind. And my natural response was to speed up and, walk a little faster because he was nice enough to hold the elevator door. But he was like, oh, no, just take your time. Really kind. He didn't have to do it. He would have been well within his rights and no one would have thought much of it, including me, if he went ahead and took his ride up to the floor he was going. But he was gracious enough to hold the door open for me. And so not only was I grateful for him and thankful, as I got off the elevator, I had that little extra, make sure you have a nice day. Just we got our day off in that little space of passing positivity back and forth between the two of us. It started with him having a kind act that started a chain reaction, and it lifts your spirits. But we move so fast. We go through so many things. We move from this event to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. Think about the number of thoughts we have in a day. If we don't slow down and realize there are things to be grateful for all the time, but we have to train that muscle. And so our quote today is being thankful is not always experienced as a natural state of existence. We must work at it, akin to just like a type of strength training for the heart. We know if we go to the gym that going one day and exercising one day is not going to give us the change that we're looking for in our bodies. If we're wanting to lose weight, not going to happen in that one day. If we're looking to gain muscle, not going to happen in that one day. Maybe we want a washboard stomach, not going to happen in that one day. We have to be repetitive and build a routine and go back and back and back and keep repeating those exercises or those things that are going to build the muscle or create the existence that we want. Our internal muscles are no different. It's easy for us to talk about it today, in this hour today, because that's the focus of the conversation. But what was your focus prior to the call? What will be your focus the remainder of the day, tomorrow, the rest of the week? There's 7 days of the week. We only talk about gratitude one for an hour or less. But the idea of doing it week in and week out is to build that muscle. The reason I ask you guys to start putting your comments in about what you're grateful for is to build that muscle, get that focus, get into the habit of giving gratitude for the things that you have right now. There is something that all of us would like to be different. There's something that all of us would like to have that we don't, right? But if you focus on that, then imagine what your day is going to be like. It's frustrating. You feel defeated. Maybe you feel like a failure. I can't believe this thing hasn't come about. I've been working on it for all this time. Or you can immediately shift your thinking. I am so grateful that I'm still here. Let's start with the basics. I'm grateful for every inhale and exhale. That's not easy for everybody. My little grandson is in the hospital about once a month, if not more. He's not even 2 yet, but he already has those asthma symptoms, and his lung capacity drops so quickly that the only thing they can do is admit him and provide oxygen and all the support that he needs until they can get it back under control. My son went through the same thing. So I know what it looks like to not be able to inhale, to try to inhale and nothing happens. Their throats, their lungs get like little straws that get smaller and smaller and smaller, and they can't move the air. Imagine how scary that is. Yet we do it all day, every day, and we don't have to give it a second thought. It's just automatic. But it's often those things that are automatic, the things that the things that we take for granted, that we don't think so much about, are often the things that support us the most. Who are the people in your life that are those quiet supporters? They show up for you. If you don't talk to them for months, when you pick up the phone, it's going to be like you've been talking every day. Those are your people, right? But have you told them the effect that they have on you? Have you told them how important they are to you, right? Gratitude is a gift to be given, and it takes practice. You build it up over time. It's funny because I had Jay laughing right before we came on, because I said the alarm went off, and the first thing I thought was no. And I pushed my face back into my pillow. I just wanted a couple more minutes. And then immediately my brain went, I'm grateful for, I'm grateful for, I'm grateful for. And then I was up and at it. My brain is trained to do that. That little thought, it beat me this morning. It jumped in before the gratitude thought came, but it was fleeting. It was just for a moment, and it became a joke, right? Because that muscle has been built over time as a result of doing the work and preparing for these rooms and us doing this every day and talking about gratitude every Thursday. I didn't always wake up and immediately think about 3 things that I'm grateful for. I certainly didn't go to bed every night thinking about what I was grateful for from that day, but I've trained myself over time. So now, even when I'm not thinking about it, those thoughts come to me, and I'm so grateful for that. The muscle is being built, right? I don't think I'm an Olympic gold medalist yet. There's still work to be done to keep training that muscle, but it can happen. It will happen, because day in and day out, that's the internal conversation that I'm having with myself. Now I want to challenge myself to be more verbal about it with others. Every opportunity that I get to verbalize that gratitude. Imagine what that'll do for your relationships. People will be amazed. Sometimes we never hear thank you. We never hear that someone's grateful for us. And it's usually the people who do the most for us that we forget to say thank you to because we take it for granted. They're always there. They always show up. They always support. Who are those people in your life? Commit to saying thank you to at least one of them today, quickly, before you forget. Text them right now. Jot them a note. Give them a call. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I was just thinking about you. You just ran through my mind. And I can't think about you and not smile because you always show up for me. And I don't know if I've ever told you, but I just want to take a minute and let you know how much that means to me. I absolutely appreciate you. Imagine what those words would do for somebody. I think a lot of our disagreements, a lot of the difficulties in our relationships is because we don't feel seen, we don't feel heard, we don't feel appreciated. But if I'm waiting for it to come my way instead of being willing to be vulnerable and give it, then I'm being a part of the problem instead of a part of the solution, right? So that's my challenge to myself. Verbalize it. Verbalize it. Tell somebody. Being thankful is not always experienced as a natural state of existence. We don't just all walk around all day long wrapped in gratitude. We should, because it'd be such a much better place to live, right? We would be much better people to interact with. We would enjoy our existence so much more than what we do right now. But we can work at it, just like going to the gym and strength training. This is strength training for the heart, strength training for the focus that you need to really get your life in order and moving in the direction that you want. Somebody said it yesterday, Gregory, where the energy goes, where the focus goes, the energy flows. So what you're focused on is what you are going to attract more of, right? So if you're focused on the things that you're grateful for, if you're focused on that, you're going to generate more of that, right? Just think about how powerful that is. I can change my world by changing my thinking. I submit to you that that's the only real way to change your world. There's a lot of things that we can do. We talk about transformation in all ways, but foundational to it all is how you think. It's your mindset. What are the thoughts that are going through your head most of the time? We have periods in our life. They talk about it on Sunday at church all the time. It's like we are a particular way when we're at church around people who believe exactly the same way that we believe. But then as soon as we leave, we pick up our problems, we pick up our bad habits, we pick up all those that negativity and we put it right back on and walk out and almost instantly forget what we just experienced. But imagine putting all that stuff down and never deal and leaving it there and changing your focus so that you can actually change what it is you're feeling and how you're experiencing your life. Did you want to say something, Jay?
No, I was just thinking about when you're in church and a pastor
Mm-hmm.
says, look to the left, look to the right, hug the person next to you, shake the hand of the person next to you, and then you walk out into the parking lot and that same person is parked a certain way and you start cussing at him.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, you were just in church hugging on him. Come on now. Let's not do that. Let's not be hypocrites, you know. And so you definitely have to train your muscle, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
heart muscle
Yep.
to be able to think in the moment, to not react like you always say, and instead respond. And I'm going to hold off because I got some more things to say, but that's what came to mind immediately.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna I'm going to take a look at the comments that have come in, and then I'll pitch it over to you and you can do your thing. So let's see. Conchita says, greetings everyone on this thankful Thursday. Indeed, another amazing day. Ollie said, hi, Cassandra. Glad to tap into your daily saving time dance. Now, muscle building. I'm probably not gonna say your name right. Is it Mangala? Thank you for always reminding us to be thankful, Cassandra Terry and Jay Pasqua. Thank you. And Ali says, you have an amazing trait of Wonder Woman, Cassandra. Your mindset muscles are so visible. Ha ha ha. As if they are outside of the, and then he says, ha ha ha, as if you are outside of the sacredness when you are outside of church. Let's make the whole world sacred. Absolutely. And I think we forget we are so good at compartmentalizing and being whatever the situation calls for, that we can slide in and out without really being aware. And that's all we're talking about. It's not about being judgmental, because we all do it. We all absolutely do it. So the idea is to bring it to focus, to think about it, so that we have the opportunity to do something different. So I listen to, have you ever gotten up in the middle of the night and thumped your toe? Oh my goodness. Have you ever been in traffic and somebody cuts you off? I think about what is showing up in my immediate thought, or the thing that comes out of my head. I don't know why that just popped up. There we go. So when in those moments where you have that surprise discomfort, or that action that comes from somebody else, I often wonder what's going to come out of my mouth, because that gives me a clue of what's going on in my heart, right? When I thump that toe, do I go, oh God? Or do a whole bunch of expletives come out? What happens? I actually think about those things, because to me, it gives me a clue as to where I am in my internal being. How balanced am I? What am I taking in? And it matters. It matters. I don't know about other people, but I am an absolute sponge. You know how kids are sponges, and everything that you say, they pick it up and they repeat it, and sometimes they embarrass you because they say something that you'd rather not be repeated in public. I'm sort of that way from an energy standpoint, from a language standpoint. I can tell who I'm spending the majority of my time with, because my language actually can change and I start to sound like them. So I have to be very, very cognizant of the fact that my natural state is very spongy. It's always soaking up the energy that's around. So if I'm around people who are really, I have a hard time in a crowd. My husband was laughing. We went to Costco on a Saturday, and he said, "You all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was a lot. That's a lot of people." He said, "Yeah, I can see the look on your face." And I was like, "I don't mean to be that way, but there's so much energy. There's so much going on in a room full of people that it affects me, and it takes me a bit to adjust to it." So where a lot of people are excited and in those myself, and find me because there's all this energy bouncing around me, and I'm absolutely affected by it. If y'all could see me in a hospital, y'all would be like, oh my goodness. I am so weak, and the anxiety is through the roof just walking through the door. I don't know what, well, I do. I was raised by my grandmother, right? And so I was always with someone who was sick, who was older and eventually ill. And because I considered her my lifeline, the idea of her not being there was really, really scary. And she was sick for a while. And I mean, very sick. She had cancer that we didn't know. And me and my sister would hear her, even in her sleep, just moaning out in pain. And we used to get up in the middle of the night, and we would go and lay our heads on her chest to make sure we could still hear her heartbeat, or put something under her nose to see that the air was still flowing. That's how concerned we were as kids. And so I guess that left its mark, because immediately when I go into those spaces, it's instant anxiety. It doesn't matter if I'm going for a good reason because a baby's about to be born, or I'm going to visit somebody. I have to really work on preparing myself and just to go in, just to be able to be in that space. All the noises, the beeping, the comings and goings, the moving of everybody, it really affects me. Till when I was younger, the anxiety level would get so high that I would literally lose consciousness. I would pass out in the middle of something, very stressful happening. And so I'm much better now because I can talk to myself, but I can't suffering. I literally feel it. If somebody, my daughter had a baby 2 months ago and she had a difficult delivery, and there was a point where I was so hot and the vision was going, everything was getting black around me, and I just barely hung on to consciousness because my anxiety level got so high. And in that moment, I'm doing all of my positive, I'm talking to myself. This is goodness. Your grandbaby's on the way. Your daughter's okay. Her body knows what to do. So I'm talking myself down so that I don't even get to the point to where I pass out. But I literally, I have physical responses to stuff like that. And so when you know those things about yourself, you have to prepare for it. My kids know. So if I leave, they know I have to go take care of myself so that the focus doesn't leave, it doesn't change from them to me. The people who are in the, who are there with me and know that I'm going to need that. My husband knows. He keeps an eye out because he knows that, she may be getting a little swoony. Let me see how much she's sweating. Things may be happening that are not good. But I know that about myself. So I have to be prepared but I am absolutely a sponge. And I have to learn I've had to learn to build a filtering system. I don't want a wall because the walls keep the bad stuff in and the good stuff out, and there's no free flow. But I do have to have a filter, and my filter is important to me because it helps me to allow in what's going to be good for me and to get out what's not. Pruning, preparing, right? Those things are very, very important to me. And I believe with everything in me, because I was created that way, or because life helped develop me that way, that that's why I have the things to share. It was all for a reason. Pruning and preparing and propelled, all that came to me because that would make sense to me because of experiences like that, right? It's all for a reason. And we all have that. There is not one experience that you've had that has not been a part of your training for the life that you were created for. So in that you can be grateful. Man, I hate it when I hate that I had to go through that. Sure, that's a common human emotion, but don't put the period there. Think a little bit more. But because of that, I now know. But because of that, I now can. Because of that, I'm more of this. And finish the thought so that we don't get so weighed down by our past experiences. There's gratitude that can be found. There's a gift in every one of them, every single experience. Sometimes we can't see the gift until we've moved past the point and have to look back and go, oh, that's what that was all about. Or something happens and you're prepared and you're like, I would not have known how to do this. I wouldn't have known what to do in this moment if I hadn't have experienced this thing 10 years ago. And now all of a sudden that thing has value that you carried as, a burden for all this time. Life is like that. But we have to train that mental muscle. We have to train the heart. So go to that gym just as diligently or even more than you go to the gym to work on the physical muscle. Being thankful is not always experienced as a natural state of existence. We must work at it, akin to a type of strength training for the heart. That was Larissa Gomez. All right, Jay, jump in here. I know you said you had some stuff to share. I'm ready to hear it.
You know, uh, share with you a funny story.
Mhm.
Um, think. talking about the gym. So back home in Guam, a few years ago, somebody had the audacity to name a bar the gym.
The bar?
So yes, there was a bar, a place where you would go drink.
Oh, I know the husbands love that. Hey, honey, I'll be home later. I'm going to the gym.
So it's the mindset, right? And we're talking about mindset right now when we're talking
Mhm.
about how we're thinking about what we should work on, right? We don't think of our heart as a muscle to work on. And really the quote is pushing us to think that way.
Mhm.
It's trying to nurture us into thinking in such a way where it's important to develop that muscle, and more so to be able to flex that muscle in the future. That's the thing that it's really calling us to do. Once
Mhm.
we're once we're in that mindset, it's good to flex it. It's one of the it's one of the things you should be able to do, is to be able to flex that mindset. And so that's what I was thinking about, that change, that shift, whatever we think about, right, and how we say it is going to determine how we succeed at something. And so
Mhm.
if you look at basically trying to improve yourself by going to the gym, that's the physicality, right, of doing it.
Mhm.
How about going to the gym for yourself,
Mhm.
your soul,
Your
your
inner
s-
being.
your
Mhm.
inner being, your spirit, right?
Mhm.
Go to develop those muscles, your spiritual muscles, your heart muscle. Those are the things that we should really be concentrating on. It's really good to think about your health, your physical health. But what about your mental health? What about your spiritual health? These are all things that we should also be working on. And it takes that mindset. The other thing I wanted to say, and I'm going to give you some more kudos, um, about example, being the example. Um, there's there's a quote out there, and it's about you know good coaches, good coaches, right? We're talking about athletes. Good coaches can change the direction of a game, right?
Mhm.
Great coaches can change a life. And that's what you are doing when you show up to the Cassandra Terry Morning Show, when you write your book, when you share your ideas about the peas and how that can impact our lives. And so, as an example, right, you took that upon yourself to do that for you. And now you're sharing that with the rest of the world. And this is what we're called to do: find our purpose, live in our purpose, and change our mindset. And how do we do that? We got to work at it. We got to go to that gym, right? And so my gym starts with a book,
Mhm.
a good book. Um, and I'm going to go to Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God. So, really, what that verse is saying, it's encouraging believers to cultivate a deep sense of appreciation for the spiritual blessings they receive and acknowledging that every good thing comes as a gift from God.
Mm-hmm.
But it also fosters an awareness of a profound gratitude for the invisible workings of divine providence in their lives, right? Prompting people to approach each day with faith, hope, and thanksgiving. What does that mean? It means we should be thankful each day, not just at the beginning of the day, but at the end of the day. We could go through life, right? And I look at it this way. I'm gonna give you a visual picture. You're going through your daily routine. You think it's the same thing over and over again, and things are just mundane for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ho hum, humdrum, all the all the words that say, "Oh man, this is boring." Nothing's happening in my life. Nothing exciting is going on, and things. Some people crave drama. I don't. I'm, ain't nobody got time for that, and I'm too old for that too. So I don't like it. But let's look at it this way about thankfulness. We don't know what's happening divinely and spiritually behind the scenes that God has saved us from. Those invisible things that have saved us to be able to have that mundane life, that mundane day. It's not mundane. Maybe you were stuck in traffic for a reason. You could have been in the accident. So, what is happening is we are experiencing life without even knowing that there may have been some spiritual things going on in the background that have saved you and allowed you to continue to live in your purpose. So when I think about gratitude and working on that muscle, I'm thinking about all the things that I'm grateful for, right? That I know of, but I'm also working on that muscle to be thankful for the things I may not know about and that may be working in the background against me that God has saved me from. The and it sounds kind of odd, but to be thankful for some of the invisible things that we may not even know that have been going on in the background that could have impacted us in some sort of way that was so negative. But there he was, providing his providence and his grace. So I just wanted to bring that to the conversation, and thank you, Cassandra.
I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words. And you're right. I mean, there's so much going on than what we can see. And I'm grateful because there's things that probably if I knew about, I may not be able to get out of bed. I'd hide under the covers. So, I am grateful that things have unfolded as they have. And I'm grateful for knowing that everything that I've experienced, regardless of which bucket I would put it in, humanly, we want to categorize things. This was good, this was bad, but it all just was. And what was created what is right now. And what is now will create the future. That's why every thought, every action, it all matters. It all matters because the choices that you're making today are going to set you up for your future. I was so tired last night. Me and my husband went to hot yoga, y'all. It's you don't even have to move and you sweat a bucket. It's 90 degrees in there and you typically end up in these ungodly positions that you didn't even think you could get in, and it's an hour, and but there's a candlelight one in the last one of the day, so we went and did that. After you do that, your body is so relaxed, you've released all those toxins, all you want to do is go to bed. take your shower, and crawl into bed. But I had a decision to make. Morning was coming quickly. And if I would just take a moment, right, to get everything set up for this morning, plug the camera back in, plug the mic back in, get everything set up in my space so all I have to do is walk in and sit in my chair and be ready to go. I really didn't want to do that last night because I wanted to go to bed, but I knew making the choice to take that extra step was going to set me up for a better morning, a less stressful morning, running around trying to get everything done at the last minute. That's when it's hard to manage the obstacles that come when you're already all worked up. So getting my day started right is important to me. So the conversations that I'm having, the people that I'm spending my time with, the things that I'm doing first thing in the morning, they set the tone for the rest of the day. So that time is sacred to me. It's very sacred. And some things, it's funny because as I'm talking to you guys, light bulbs are coming on and I'm realizing I'm meeting myself. I'm learning more about me by having these conversations. That's why I say all the time, I don't show up with all the answers. I may not have any of them. We'll see. I know what has worked for me up to this point. But because I'm human, because I'm fallible, I'm continually working on me and working things out. And sometimes in real time, I get a revelation. The conversation that I will have with my husband after I don't even have to have it because he's sitting right here. He can hear me. First thing in the morning is not the time for us to have deep conversation, especially if there's a possibility that the conversation is going to go awry, because that sets the tone for the rest of my day. And that's my sacred time. I've just talked about what I'm grateful for. I'm still waking up and getting those synapses firing. And I'm preparing to do this, which I want to come in as the best version of myself. So in the morning, when all of that is going on, what I take in is very powerful. And so I guard that space. And I didn't realize it until just this moment that that's what's going on. So when we try to have a conversation first thing, I typically don't respond that well because my mind isn't there. I'm in a different space and I'm trying to get myself aligned and together. So I'm not even in a place. I'm in my woo-woo feel good spot. I'm not in a place where I can have a deep conversation about anything. So the timing is wrong. Just like I figured out a few years ago, late in the afternoon is not the time for me to do brain work. So I do that in the morning or I do it later in the evening. But midday, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm tired mentally. And so I can do repetitious work, but I can't do brain work that's going to require a lot of focus and thought. So getting to know yourself and knowing how you work will set you up to have better results from the things that you do. I'm not taking an exam at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not taking a course, not trying to figure out some strategic move for work. Those things are in the morning or later in the day. And I just realized in this moment, first thing in the morning is not the time for deep conversations for me. They won't go well because I'm not in the right mind space to participate well. We just talked about this the other day. And literally, I'm just having this moment right now where the realization is setting in. But talking and being mindful and being open to you and honest about you and trying to figure yourself out, that's the work of your lifetime, guys. The more you do in that space, the better you are able to cultivate the relationships that you want, the better you're able to protect your boundaries, the better you're able to show up and enjoy the gift of the life that you've been given. So let me take a look at all the comments that have come in. And then, Brian, we will be over to you. Let's see. Ollie says, Jay, you are looking fantastic today. And he says, by the way, so funny. I got the visualization that if Jay is moving his head at his right side, he can have the Cassandra logo wig and he'll be hair irresistible. You got to move the other way. There you go. Just like that, you have a fro. My mom said, good morning, fam. Conchita says, Cassandra, you are a true empath. Your capacity to withstand is just as great as your capacity to withhold. You possess much light. Thank you, Conchita. Sometimes that withstanding, girl, I wonder. Let's see. Ollie says the whole life is a full game. It is. He also said, Cassandra, we love you. I wish I could take example to you for being the Kensug Ollie that I want to be. And he says gymnastic with gym as GEM. So that's our gymnastic bringing, of the heart. And then he says wig and of Oz. So he's having fun with this logo on your head, Jay. He also shared the verse with us that I will read again. Ephesians 2:8 and 9. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourself, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. Isn't that the truth? I have nothing to boast about, nothing whatsoever. But at the same time, I have been so extremely blessed. If I'm going to boast about anything, it's going to be about the goodness of God and how he's blessed me and the things that he has done through me. If that's your boast, you're on point. Ollie says, I don't abide neither by the drama dare. Yeah, that's this drama stuff. You can save it. He says, for allow God to be able to save us, we have to open the gates of letting go of control, having a face to face conversation with God. Not face to face, faith to faith. I love it. And Ali said, yet not know about yet. Oh, I love yet. That's one of my favorite words. Yet is a word that is full of hope, and it says things may not be what I how I want them to be yet. When you append that yet to the end, you're saying to yourself there's still opportunity for that to change. I can do the work, I can take the course, I can learn the skill, I can work on my inner person, whatever it is. I may not be there yet, but I'll get there. Yet is a powerful word. My mom said, that's right, Jay. Yes, we should be thankful each day. Wonderful, Jay. And Conchita says, love that scripture, Jay. There is a statement from a commentary on Ephesians 2:8 that sums it all up, which says, grace is the moving cause of salvation. Faith by only the instrument by which it is laid hold of. Grace is the moving cause of salvation. Faith only the instrument by which it is laid hold of. Use your instrument, guys. Ollie says, going to leave now. We'll catch the replay later. Hugs. Hugs right back to you. Sonia says, morning, everyone from Cozumel. Sonia is in celebration season. Her husband just had a birthday. She just had, is it a 30-year anniversary, Sonia? It's up there. And she's not that old. So she's been married ever since she got out the crib, apparently. Because I saw she crossed the kindergarten line and went right to the chapels. 30 years. Congratulations. That is amazing. And for you to join us from Cozumel, we appreciate that so much. And I hope you and your husband, I know you and your husband are having a beautiful time because I've seen some of the pictures, the things that you've uploaded. So just keep enjoying yourself and bask in the fact that you guys have kept it going for 30 years. 30 years. Amazing. All right. I think I've gotten everyone's comments. I actually have a call that I've got to start up. So I may go off camera in just a moment, but I'll still be able to hear you guys. So Brian, are you able to unmute and share?
Absolutely.
All right. Over to you.
Grand Rising. I guess this morning I'm gonna have to jump on jump in the pulpit for a minute because the only thing I kept hearing all morning was a song from a gospel group that my dad used to listen to, my uncle loves, and it's just coming across. And the song is like here it goes. The song is you didn't have to wake me up this morning, but you did, Lord. Right? All the money in the world is not gonna make a difference if you're not here.
It's times like
All
this
of
when I
the
wish my mom was in the room so she could drop that beauty for us. Sonia said,
I'm
please
serious.
sing, Brian.
Nah, not this morning. I didn't drink my tea. uh, But I'm serious about that though, right? Your biggest gift is waking up, right? When you able to put your pants on, when you able to put your blouse on, when you're able to remember your name and jump in the shower and everything is still the same. You know what I mean? That is a blessing. That is a blessing beyond all measure. We live in a world composed of uh, run off of an intricate system of spiritual fundamentals. And everything that you do really starts with your faith and your gratitude, right? And they kind of go hand in hand. If you're faithful, you have more gratitude. When you're grateful, then you're more faithful. So waking up with that attitude that hey, today is gonna be a great day because I woke up sets the precedent for the day. It sets the conversation. It sets the tone. It sets your mood for every interaction and everything that comes your way. I was talking to a guy yesterday about building wealth and empires and fortunes. And this guy, he's an older guy and he's made a lot of money in his life. He owned an insurance company when he was younger. And he made a statement that just stuck with me. It's not like I didn't already know it. I say it all the time, but hearing it come from someone else, it just it 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 reiterates what you already know. And what he said was, everybody wants to make a lot of money. Wealth is a spiritual thing. You attract wealth by the vibration that you send off into the universe. And God decides what you get. You might think you're deciding it. It might feel like it was your choice. But I don't care what you do, if the creator of our existence decides this is not what I want for you, you're not going to get it. And vice versa. There is nothing in this world that can stop what God has for you. You should wake up every morning feeling grateful that you are part of that family, that everything is already yours. When you wake up saying thanks for what's already mine, then you give God a sense of reverence. You give God that sense of everything is in your control. I trust you. You guide me. You show me which way to go, and I'm going to go that way. And when you do that, everything you need along the way gets put in your path. You don't even have to look for it. Trust me when I tell you this. That's the way it works. You have to be faithful and you have to be grateful.
And I think when when we look at things in that light, we're going to understand that we don't have to sit stuck. We don't have to feel that the adversity that we experience is going to take us out, is going to hold us up, is going to impede us from getting to where we want to go, where we need to go. Gratitude will put you in that mindset. Gratitude will allow you to build up those muscles. And what I heard from you, Brian, is gratitude helps with resilience. Resilience, thankfulness, and being resilient. Who would have thought, right? If I'm thankful about something, how does that translate to being resilient? Because of the adversity that we experience as human beings, because of some of the struggles that we go through, if we don't look at it as opportunities, then we are sitting in adversity and not trying to move through it. And I've said this before, there are so many instances in the Bible where, you know, God is all powerful. He could have stopped so many things from happening, right? Instead, he, in his infinite wisdom, allowed people, iconic figures in the Bible, saints, to experience adversity, calamity, right? And yet they were able to come through it as a result of their faith, right? And so, but faith and gratitude, man, you put it right square on the head. Faith and gratitude. That's it. It allowed them to come through that adversity, you know, a lot of times unscathed. They went through it, right?
And Jay,
Yeah.
it is really about the way that you see it, right? So when we say unscathed, we're looking at it like the the trauma that we've experienced, the hurdles that we've had to overcome, the difficulties that we've had to endure. The world teaches us to look at that like that working against us,
Mm.
and it's actually working for us. But you have to have faith and gratitude in order to have that perspective. If you don't see it that way, when things come about that stir up what you have going, you look at it like, oh, this is just messing up my life. First off, it's not your life. Second off, because it's not yours, if you giving reverence to the person that gave it to you, your life can never go wrong. I don't care what you're doing, you're going in the right direction according to where he wants you to go.
Whew. You know, and this is the thing about what we talk about all the time when it comes to alignment. We can sit here and talk about these things. We've never rehearsed none of what we said ever, and yet we come into alignment. And this, to me, is also walking in our purpose when we come here and share what we share on the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. And it is through our faith and it is through our gratitude coming here and being part of this show and this collective that it allows us to be in alignment. And Cassandra talks about it all the time, that vertical connection, right? That connection to the divine, to God. And so this, as we continue to go to the gym to strengthen our heart muscle, to be able to flex that muscle, our spiritual muscle, you know, the gym for me, the spiritual gym is church. And it's, and church is, can be defined in many different ways, however you believe it. But church is faith. That to me is at its core, right? And so we've got to spirituality, that's helping us build up that muscle. Um, I said it before. We 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 always think, especially in the new year, we're always thinking about, let's get into shape. Let's do what we need to do to improve our health, our physical health. But what about our mental health? What about our spiritual health? These are the things that we should also work on. And so, um, if Cassandra's there, you know, maybe she can say a few words before we leave. Anything else you want to share, B?
Nah, man, I think you summed it up perfect.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody again for being here on the Cassandra Terry Morning Show, listening to us, watching us from wherever you are. Um, we start here at 7:15 a.m. Central Time um, in the morning, and some of you across the globe are going to bed. So we appreciate you being here with us and sharing in this, so that maybe we can provide some value to you. And Cassandra, she's got a book coming out. You can pre-order these. Uh, Pre-order the book. It's going to be out on March 25th. Soar, right? And we're going to soar in 2024. And it's going to help with that mindset. It's going to help you get to that spiritual and mental gym, right? This is the book that you should pick up, and it's going away for a steal. Now if you pre-order it, like really good pricing. So if you might want to take advantage of that, or you could wait, after March 25th and get the. You can also get the hard copy sent to you. And I just want to say, I said it yesterday. You know, just her example of sharing her thoughts and sharing her mindset and allowing others to improve theirs, right? Allowed me. I hadn't even read the book, and it already changed my mindset by her example. So I want to just give her kudos for doing that. But that's it. We are here Tuesday through Friday on the Cassandra Terry Morning Show, talking about mindset with the Mindset Queen, Cassandra Terry. Um, I'm here, Jay Pasqua, the storytelling strategist, as well. Brian Smart, Mr. Content, and Dad Panura, he joins us. And Denise Annalise Spiller, the relentless traveler, she is actually traveling. So sometimes she's able to join us, and hopefully she will be, as she continues to enjoy her time in Grenada, and she's doing great things out there. So come back again, you know, every day, Tuesday through Friday, and we'd be glad to have you. And so with that, just want to say, have a good day, and hopefully, again, like we said, hopefully we provided some value for today. Thank you for joining us today. Make sure you join us every week, Tuesday through Friday, 7:15 a.m. Central Time, for the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. Don't forget to join iwantosoar.com for advertising or sponsorship questions. Reach out to Cassandra or any member of the FAM Collective on their LinkedIn profiles.